What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for another FM video. Today we are taking a look at the wacky world of FM12 to take a look at some of their most high profile wonder kids in the game to see how their careers have got on 10 years later. Was FM correct? Did they get their potential correct? I've put together my starting 11 of ideal wonder kids from FM12. Back in the day I used to put hours into these games, probably even more so than when I'm now a content creator, I guess. So I've put together my first 11, first choice, using all of the wonder kids that I personally remember. Let me know down in the comments who your favorite wonder kid was from FM12 and see if they make it into this team. But without any further ado, let's start off with the goalkeeper, the man in between the sticks, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. So guys, we're starting off with goalkeeper Marc-Andre ter Stegen. He started his career at Borussia Mönchengladbach over in the Bundesliga, and his attributes from the FM12 game are on the screen right now. He actually looks really good, age 19, really good communication, great kicking already, very good at rushing out, really good bravery, composure, determination. You know, with that high determination, he's going to become one of the best wonder kids in the game. He was at Mönchengladbach for a long period of time, and even cried on his departure on his final game before heading over to Barcelona. If we go and take a look at ter Stegen in FM22, he is still at Barcelona, and if we take a look at his career stats, you can see Barcelona paid £9.75 million to Mönchengladbach for his services, and I think that is money well spent. He has gone on to become one of the best goalkeepers in world football, in my opinion. It's really unfortunate for him that he's battling it out with Manuel Neuer for that Germany spot, but a very good goalkeeper nonetheless over in La Liga. Looks like he's been doing pretty well, and obviously in terms of his his attributes, he's developed as you kind of would expect. He is listed as a perfectionist on his personality now. He is a world-class goalkeeper and has had a very good career at Barcelona. Probably not as many caps as you would like for a goalkeeper of this standing, but obviously who gets past Manuel Neuer in goal for Germany is a very difficult one. He's still got really good distribution, still a very viable goalkeeper if you're going PvP in FM22. Let's move on to the defense. So in this formation, I'm going for a 4-2-3-1. So we have four defenders, and we're kicking things off with the right back, which is Croatian Simi Vrsaljko. Now, Vrsaljko started his career in Croatia at Dinamo Zagreb in FM12. He was 19 years of age. His attributes are on the screen for you now. 13 crossing, 12 dribbling. You can tell already just from those two that he is a good attacking fullback. Great passing, solid tackling, only valued at 1.4 million. He is wanted by a club. I did check there. It is Benfica. Really nice mentals, again with that high determination, that 17 determination, promoting the fact that he will go on to be a very good player. Really nice aggression. I love his physicals as well. 15 pace, 18 natural fitness, 17 stamina. He's going to be able to get up and down that right hand side a lot. Looking at his positions, then he could have played in a lot of positions, natural at right back and right wing back, which is great, but can play in a number of positions. So a really good utility player. You would have been able to get him for dirt cheap coming out of Croatia. And diving into FM22, this is how he's looking now. You can still see some of the similarities there. He's still very good at attacking with that 15 crossing, that good marking, that good passing and stuff like that, great tackling. He's very well rounded at this stage of his career. He's now 29 years of age. He's now at Atletico Madrid. In terms of his career stats though, after leaving Dinamo Zagreb, he went to Italy to Genoa, then Sassuolo. Atleti picked him up. He's had 1 year on loan at Inter Milan, and he's back at Atleti. He's not really playing a huge amount of games, probably not hit the pinnacle, the peak that everybody would have been expecting from a player like this coming out of Croatia, but we all know that Croatia can produce those wonder kids. 51 appearances for Croatia. I think that's probably changed. That's just the information that the game is showing me right now. But again, Simi Vrsaljko, actually a very good right back from FM12, and it looks like he's gone on to have a pretty solid career. Let's move into those centre back spots. So the first of our two centre-backs is the first Englishman as part of this team, and we have central defender Steven Kolker. Now in FM12 he was on loan at Swansea, but I first came across Steven Kolker the season before when he was on loan at my team Bristol City, and at the time I thought he was one of the best centre-backs that I'd ever seen, and I even said to a couple of my mates, this guy will go on to play for England. He was that damn good. In this instance he was on loan to Swansea from Tottenham. What do we think about Tottenham? But in terms of everything, think he looks pretty good. Here are his attributes from FM12. Relatively well-rounded for someone aged 19, valued at 3.9 million. Really nice and tall, good on both feet, really elite tier centre-back. And I think he's done really well in FM12. He always went on to be a stalwart of that England back line. You know, once a sort of Rio Ferdinands, John Terrys of the world had retired, this guy was right there to step in and take that next step. However, in FM22 and in his actual career, let's talk at his career stats first and foremost, it's not really worked out like that. Obviously, Steven Goalkeeper has had many issues throughout the course of his career, which obviously I'm not here to touch on, but he's bounced around and being part of quite a few clubs. You know, there's his spell at Bristol City, 29 appearances, 2 goals. I'm telling you, man, he was really damn good. And he was good at his loan period in Swansea as well. Did well for Cardiff in that season in the Premier League. Yes, they did get relegated, but he still did pretty well. 38 appearances for them in the Premier League that year. 35 appearances for QPR again in the Premier League the season after that. And then things started to change. He's now playing over in Turkey, having had a year or a few years at QPR, had some time off of football as well, playing for Dundee then Atlantaspor, Fenerbahce, and now Gaziantep in Turkey is where he's listed as at the start of an FM22 game. He still looks to me like a really good centre-back. He's 29 years of age. Yeah, he's lost some of his pace that he probably would have had, but I still think Steven Goalkeeper could do a job in a Premier League team as things stand. He's now changed his nationalities. He's now Sierra Leonean, if that's the correct way of saying that. Obviously, he was capped for England, I believe, at youth level. But yeah, looks like a really good player still. Probably not the elite tier that he could have gone on to be, that John Terry, Rio Ferdinand-esque, but still a solid player. Probably not had the best career out of the entire 11. His centre-back partner, though, is a very interesting one. So, playing alongside Steven Goalkeeper in my FM12 Wonderkid Dream 11 is Nathan Ake. He was 16 years of age at the start of FM12. He was playing for Chelsea, for those of you who don't remember where Nathan Ake started his career. He is a Chelsea player. He is in their under 18s at the start of a FM12 game cycle. He's actually got 10 for free kick taking, which is one of his highest technical attributes. He's got 12 for technique as well. But to be honest, looking at him here, he doesn't really look like he's going to go on to be an elite centre-back. And actually, he did. With the right sort of development and stuff like that, he really did go on to be a good centre-back back in the day. I really felt that you needed to give him game time to do that, to sort of hone some of those other attributes. He doesn't necessarily have the determination that some of these other players have seen, that we've shown you. But ultimately, I think he's gone on to have a pretty good career, which we'll touch on in a second. Mentally, he looks a little bit frail. And again, physically, not really all that. But we have to remember, at this point, he is a 16-year-old. 10 years down into a save, Nathan Ake would have been one of the most elite centre-back options that you could have picked up. And as I said, valued at 230k in Chelsea's under 18s, I think he would have been a very good pickup. Now we dive into FM22 and we take a look at his career stats. Obviously, this is a period at Chelsea. He's had a couple of loan spells whilst at Chelsea. What young Chelsea player doesn't go out on loan? He went out to Reading, he went out to Watford as well, and then initially went on loan to Bournemouth, who then purchased him for £20 million. This is where a majority of people will remember Nathan Ake playing in that Bournemouth team under Eddie Howe. And then Manchester City paid £41 million for Ake, and that's now where he finds himself. Obviously, he's a Premier League winner now, which is great for him, but ultimately probably not playing as many games week in, week out as you would like to. For someone who is still only 26 years of age, this is probably where he would have been 10 years' time in that FM12 save, and I think ultimately he looks very well-rounded, really great mentals, really nice physicals. He is one of those quicker centre-backs out and about there. Yeah, he's not the tallest at 5'11", but he is still a very good player. His career has definitely panned out pretty nicely. 22 caps for the Dutch national team at the start of an FM22 game cycle. I'm sure he's had more caps than that since then, but now finds himself at Manchester City and is a Premier League champion. We move on to left back now, and this again is a very interesting one and a Premier League regular. So in the left back spot, we have the second Englishman in this starting 11, and we're talking about Luke Shaw, the young left back who came out of Southampton, started FM12, aged 15 on £55 a week, valued at £1.1 million. Solid enough tackling for someone of his age, but obviously the technical attributes were still lacking. Mentally, again, not really there, but physically pretty darn good for a 15-year-old. He was in Southampton's academy in their under 18s, and as you can see on the terms of his positions, he can play all up and down that left-hand side, which is very, very important. He is on a youth contract at the time being, but we all knew that Luke Shaw could go into being one of these new elite tier players, probably sitting themselves behind Ashley Cole in that left back debate for England, going on to see how things can go. And obviously we know he has now played for England, scored in the Euros final, obviously famously one of the quickest goals that the Euros has ever seen. Luke Shaw was the man to get that finish and apply that goal to give England a good shot at winning the Euros. Ultimately that didn't work out, but in terms of Luke Shaw's career now, he did leave Southampton for Manchester United. United did pay £27 million for him, and then has been a pretty regular for the most part for Manchester United, especially in the recent seasons. Looking at this here, this is kind of the Mourinho era, isn't it, where he didn't really play, but I think ultimately Luke Shaw is one of the best left backs in the Premier League and potentially the world. I think his performance at the Euros were exceptional, and then obviously after that this season United haven't really been at their best, but ultimately I think Luke Shaw has gone on to realise this potential of being one of the best left backs in the Premier League, but also being England's first choice left back in my opinion. Incredibly well rounded on that left hand side, really good player, good fullback, is a real threat on that left-hand side for Manchester United now. I think this is yet another one that FM12 hit with. Let's move into that midfield. Moving into the midfield then, one of the two sitting players in this team is Marco Verratti. Now obviously we all know he plays for PSG now, but he started his career at Pescara, who I believe were bouncing in between Serie A and Serie B at the time. 18 years of age, fantastic technicals already for someone of that age, can play anywhere through the middle of the park. 16 for corners and 16 technique, along with the 18 for flair, prove that this guy could be one of the players to unlock any team in FM12. Valued at only 800k, you could have picked him up dirt cheap. I did a historic save on FM09, I think it was, and I picked up Verratti then when he was like 15, 16 in the game. He was very good then, so he's obviously gone from strength to strength here. I think at 18 he looked like he could have been really good, didn't necessarily have some of the attributes, and obviously the fact that he is only 165 centimeters, which I don't really know what that is in feet and inches, but we all know Verratti isn't the biggest in terms of his stature. In terms of where his career has panned out, he moved from Pescara to Paris Saint-Germain for £9 million in the summer of 2012, obviously having had a good season for Pescara in Serie B, as you can see from his stats on the screen. 31 appearances for the club in that campaign, and yeah, bouncing around the Serie B and Serie D. Oh wow, he did have a mixed career at Pescara, and then obviously has since been a mainstay in the PSG team, going on to basically do over 20 appearances per season for PSG. Still very good technically, with that 18 passing, 17 technique, great first touch as well. He's still pretty good at delivering the ball and very nice on the ball. He is a midfield entertainer according to his media description. 5'5", that's how tall he must be, and 60 kilos again. He's not one of the biggest frames in world football, but he is a very creative option for them, and obviously is a very good option for PSG and Pochettino, who's probably going to lose his job at the end of the season. We all know the guy who's going to be partnering him, or at least I think we do know. Let's move into midfielder number 2. So Verratti's central midfield partner really needs no introduction. It is Paul Pogba. Now obviously FM12, he was still at Manchester United. He hadn't left at this point. 18 years of age in the Manchester United reserves. Pogba would go on, if you gave him the game time, to be a phenomenal central midfielder. Already has the physicals there. They obviously will improve over time. He is only 18, of course. Technically, again, still pretty good, actually. Valued at 2.1 million on £1,000 a week. He's listed for loan. He's wanted by clubs as well. just give this guy some game time. Obviously, Pogba had that issue where he was at Manchester United and did want to leave because of the lack of game time and the seeing certain other players play in central midfield, get call-ups instead of him. And you can kind of potentially see why. In his career, though, Paul Pogba then did leave Manchester United on a free transfer and had 4 fantastic years in Juventus, winning Serie A's left, right and centre. He is a very good midfielder, or was, in my opinion, when he was at Juventus, prompting Manchester United to buy him back for £86 million. I believe it was a domestic transfer record at the time, and now obviously is back at Manchester United, looking like he's going to leave again on a free transfer. Maybe this is something to do with Paul Pogba, but it looks like he is going to leave United at the end of the season on a free transfer again. Looking at his attributes and stuff like that, so we can see how he's developed. He has developed into a elite tier midfielder. He's obviously won the World Cup with France and stuff like that. But in terms of domestically in England, probably not reached the levels that Paul Pogba was definitely capable of. Moving into the attacking positions now, on the right wing, we have Raheem Sterling. Now, this guy burst onto the scene at Liverpool, and in FM12, he was age 16 at the start of the game, number 31 for Liverpool. He is still on a youth contract, but valued at 1.8 million. He has a pretty good dribbling attribute of 13, good first touch of 11 as well, and those physicals, I think they've done him dirty. He was electric when he burst onto the scene at Liverpool, in my opinion. But again, another player in the under-18s of a club in the Premier League who really needed some game time to get himself up to that top tier level. Obviously, he can play on both flanks, which is where he's done for most of his career since leaving Liverpool. And speaking of since leaving Liverpool, he has gone to Manchester City, where obviously he has spent a large portion of his career. Now, obviously, he did start his career at QPR before going to Liverpool. Liverpool did buy him for a small fee. On screen, you can see it's £3.6 million, but I don't remember him at QPR. I remember him coming on as a youngster at Liverpool before getting that move to Manchester City. Man City paid £46 million for his services and has gone on to be a real factor in them winning a lot of their trophies, a lot of their Premier Leagues, especially in this particular season, 1920, where he scored 20 goals in the Premier League. That is, from the wing, is a exceptional return. We all know Man City score a lot of goals, but that is a lot. If we take a look at Sterling's profile here, he has gone on to be that sort of attacking player. He's only 26 years of age. People do forget that. Well, he's 27 now. 27 years of age. But people forget he's still so young. He still has 5 at least years of his career to go, in my opinion. People think he's washed. He's definitely not washed. A mainstay in Gareth Southgate's England team, Raheem Sterling has definitely gone on to hit the heights that the FM12 potential had for him. Now, I'm kind of cheating with this one because there's someone in the cam spot who I really want to get in. So I've moved this guy out onto the left-hand flank. It is Mario Goetzer. Now, he can play out on that left-hand side. 19 years of age at the start of FM12. He is really probably one of the best players that we have seen on this list of my 11 so far. 18 first touch, 17 dribbling, 17 passing, 18 technique as well. Fantastic mentals throughout the course of him there. 17 acceleration, 18 agility. This guy was electric in FM12 if you could sign him. He'd already won stuff at Dortmund there and looks like a real threat. Now, obviously, we know in his career he does go on to score the winning goal in the World Cup for Germany in, I think, 2014 when they won that World Cup. So fair play to Mario Goetzer there. Obviously, he's 19 at the start of FM12. His career hasn't really hit those heights since. He was playing very well at Dortmund. Bayern Munich obviously prompted the transfer, 31.5 million they bought him for in 2013-2014, and then he had a few seasons at Bayern in the Bundesliga, and then they sold him back to Dortmund, and things didn't really work out for him at Dortmund, and he now finds himself playing in the Eredivisie for PSV Eindhoven. In terms of his attributes and stuff, yeah, he's probably not at the level that FM12 thought he was going to be at, but he is a World Cup winner. Germany won the World Cup because of him scoring this goal, and I think ultimately he's still a pretty good player in FM22, age 29. Again, he's another player who definitely isn't washed, but didn't really hit the heights continuously that you would expect of someone like this. Yes, okay, yeah, he did win the World Cup. I am aware he has won the World Cup, but you probably would have expected more out of someone with those attributes 10 years down the line. Moving into that cam spot, then we have Eden Hazard of Lille. Now, this guy was the guy to sign in FM12, in my opinion. Fantastic elite tier player, age 20, so he's kind of on the cusp of not being a wonder kid anymore. But the dribbling of 18, the first touch of 18, great passing, 18 technique as well, along with those electric physicals, 18 acceleration, 16 agility, 16 natural fitness, 16 pace. This guy, again, could play anywhere across that three behind the striker, could even play at striker if you had to, but he could literally play anywhere in any of these positions. But I find the most value out of him at the central attacking midfield position. Electric player, and obviously was at Lille at the time. But in his career, he did get that move away from Lille. He did go to Chelsea for £29 million, and obviously he went on to be a very good player for Chelsea, winning the Champions League at Chelsea, but also going on to be the PFA Player of the Year in one season, I believe, and was one of the best players in the Premier League at the time. Real Madrid then paid £88 million for him, and he has been rubbish for Real Madrid. Obviously, he's had a lot of injuries as well, so we can't really call upon him too much in La Liga, but definitely not justifying that £88 million price tag since he's been at Madrid. Looking at him now, he still is electric, still is a very good player. 110 caps for Belgium at the time of at the start of a new save in FM22. He has all the attributes still to be a very good player, age 30, but I have a feeling his physicals are going to decline pretty quickly if you pick this guy up in FM22. Would it be a retrospective Wonder Kids list if we didn't include this guy? The striker rounding off this team is none other than Santos's Neymar. 19 years of age for Neymar at the time, obviously still playing in Brazil. 18 dribbling, 16 finishing, 17 first touch, 18 technique, either footed. Great flair, good off the ball, fantastic pace and physicals as well. He'd already won the Copa Libertadores at this point with Santos, and was a very good player. Looking at him here, he would have been the go-to guy to sign. If I could have got him and Hazard into whatever team I was managing, oh, chef's kiss. That would have just been fantastic. Obviously, he did leave Brazil. Looking at this in FM22 now, he was bought by Barcelona for £50 million. Over to Spain he travelled, and he did very, very well. Obviously at Barcelona, being part of that MSN strike partnership alongside Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi, doing exceptional things for Barcelona before making the monumental transfer to PSG for £195 million. Now, it's a staggering fee that the French champions paid for Neymar. Yes, he is very good. Yes, he has that brand recognition. But in terms of deliverables on the pitch, I don't necessarily think they've got it. He's not hit 20 goals a season so far since he's been at PSG, which I'm not taking shots at the French league, but it's not the most elite tier league that you will go and find in Europe, and he's not really delivered on that stage, and especially in the Champions League and stuff like that, hasn't really delivered there either. In terms of his attributes, obviously this is Neymar. He is still very, very good at 29 years of age, but I just don't think he's delivered as much as you kind of would expect from a player with this talent. Again, obviously he can play on the left, he can play as a cam, he can play up front, he can kind of do a bit of everything. He really has the ability to unlock teams and defenses and stuff like that. But does he do it on a consistent enough basis? For me, especially in the big games, Neymar does not deliver for PSG. He actually delivers more frequently for Brazil, and obviously has that spell every year where he disappears for his sister's birthday. That is weird. But that is the team. That is the player that is going to round off this 11. So guys, that is 11 Wonder Kids that we have taken a look at from FM12 to see how their career pans out 10 years later. For the most part, I think they've gone on to be very, very good. So it seems like FM12 was pretty on the money with these Wonder Kids and their potential, and scouting them early, figuring out who would go on to be those elite tier players. If there's anyone that you think I've missed out, let me know down in the comment section, because I'm sure you guys will have different memories of FM12 Wonder Kids to me. But that is it for today, guys. If you have enjoyed it, drop a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel if you are picking up things for the very first time, and until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you on another one very, very soon.